Hey, what is going on, everybody? Boilon here, back for another video on Raid Shadow Legends. It has been a day or two, but I am back, and it's a Friday, and we're here to talk about traps. Why, why Raid is often called Wait Shadow Legends, because there are some events today that if if you're flush with shards, you can have at it. We'll take a look at it as well. But there's a lot of things coming hard and fast next week. I've been away slightly with the announcements, of course, of the release of the kits for Dorothy Gale and the Cowardly Lion, who is the next fusion event starting next Wednesday. I'm pretty sure. Is it Wednesday or Thursday? And so there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to want to start saving for. And obviously there's going to be 4/5 of the Oz characters. Like it's, the main four plus like Azilda, which was announced as well as the event dungeon. But I mean, most people aren't going to get her. So for everyone else, it's going to be about the main four. And we're going to want to save as much resources as possible going into this, because so far from what I'm seeing on the kit is that while it might not be like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles level synergy, but it's going to be a pretty good set of 4 characters. And, I think these are going to be ones that you're going to want to save your resources for. We're going to talk about all that and more now. Before we get started, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started, what are you waiting for? Get out from under that rock. Use the QR code in the top right. Get King Galkabar. Get Venomage, Tagore, and Farrakhan the Fat at level 10, 20, and 30. Don't forget about your pal, Pelops the Victor. All you got to do is use the promo code SUPERVICTORY in the first 48 hours of a brand new account. Of course, you're going to get a free Dorothy Gale starting next week as well. So yeah, great time to start playing Raid. Before we talk about the Oz characters and why you should be hoarding and what you can do to do that, of course, let's just put up with why I'm not spending any of my energy, because I am waiting until next week. I'm going to be flush with energy by the start or middle of next week, and I'll have no problems clearing the bulk of these fusion events because of my hoarding. Now, not tournaments, sorry, I meant to click on the events. We have the Khmer path, Gloom Eater path for Khmer's Red Stars. Now, what is nice about this event, however, if you are interested, I'm not, but if you are, there is the different, I think it starts at 3 red for Khmer and then 4 and then 5. So it's not just 5 or nothing. One other thing that I want to point out is they do have relic materials for the Gleaming Fear Gems. This is the Platinum Raid Pass kind of crap. But what's interesting, though, is that it has the legendary... These are going to be very expensive, mind you, and this is not for the 90% of you who are watching this video, but there are mythical ones up for grabs. And the reason why I bring this up is because this set for relics has one of the most interesting... I'm not doing it. I'm not a whale. I don't have enough to blow on this. Oh, sorry, where the heck is it? It's under events, isn't it? Forge Pass. The Dread Bomb is one of the biggest, I think, relics, mythical relics that I've ever seen. And this was big when they were talking about and nerfing, what's her name, from the October Fusion event, Sanguine Maria. So it's a crit damage relic, but Where has a 10% chance to gain an extra turn when attacking. Where also ignores 10% of enemies' defense when attacking during extra turns. So this goes all the way up to 20%. But in combination with what Sanguine Maria can do, and let's be honest, like the amount of people who even have a Dread Bomb, I don't, is probably insignificant. But I wanted to point it out there because if you did get those relic materials, you would get, was it a 20% chance to get a mythical when you like actually put them all together? So you would have to go both sides, and good God, would that be expensive? But I wanted to point that out anyways. The cost of getting a 3 red Khmer, you would need to get 2 keys, and basically you would have to go down 2 of the lines, which could cost you around, if I'm not mistaken, it's around 9,000 per line or something like this, right? Or close to that. So it might cost you about 25,000 points. I'm rounding a little bit, but roughly around that. And so that would cost you about, was that just over probably 5 sacred shards plus, I don't know, there's like a spider tournament ongoing, I think, right now. So if you really wanted to do some of these or the champion training, like you would just have to double dip a little bit with that. And that would get you there. But otherwise, I'm not biting. Khmer is not a major impact to my roster, so 3 would be cool for the defense and stuff like that. He's not a DPS character, so he doesn't need the rest of it so much. But yeah, that's a pass from me, sadly. But I want to talk about why. And in order to do that, we have to talk about, oh, I already had it on the screen. Sorry, my bad. Dorothy Gale, right? So she is legendary support, spirit of the Bannerlords faction, which is over here in the top right. She looks pretty cool. She's got Toto floating there in the corner. Really cool appearance. This is the start of Echoes of Oz, which is going to be starting next Wednesday. So from Wednesday, I guess we are going to be starting to get our login calendar for Dorothy Gale, which is cool, right? And she's a support character. Now, we haven't really had a support character, so to speak, since Skeletor, but she's way better. And so she's honestly a really great login character as a support champion, more of an offensive support, but nonetheless. So she's got Weaken on her A1, and she can remove a random buff. Her A2 does decrease defense and decrease accuracy on all enemies for 2 turns, right? On a cooldown of 3 with books. Furious Tornado, her A3, attacks all enemies, steals all buffs from all enemies. So kind of like a Wukong, or like a Wukong ultimate. Then applies a buff spread, taking all those buffs that she just stole onto all allies. And then it can also do a stun. Now, what's cool is obviously there's some kind of like it is a unity, in fact, but you know, it's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles things. So with 1, you cannot land a weak hit. With 2, this cannot be put on cooldown. So no Fabian lockdown, no anything like that, right? No cooldown reduction or increase, sorry. And then with 3, it ignores the effects of an enemy polymorph blessing. Kind of interesting there, right? So nothing's going to reflect back at you to turn her into a sheep. And then her passive, basically, when she's killed, everyone else... Now, it doesn't say Oz allies. It just says all allies, right? So regardless of who you use her with, are going to team up to attack the enemy that killed her. Which basically means you want to use Dorothy with a reviver. And I have a feeling that there's going to be a revive mechanism in the Oz allies with the remaining 2 characters. Whenever this champion is revived, instantly activates her Furious Tornado. So again, it's right there in the kit. So I have to assume that one of the Oz characters are going to bring her back to life. But even if it's not her, if you use somebody else, then it will also instantly activate her A3, which is really cool, right? Because it could lead to a stun. All sorts of applications for this. Increase the champion's HP by 3% for each ally turn taken, and increased her speed by 3%, both stacking up to 30%. And she's got a 19% all battles aura. So she's going to get 30% additional speed over the course of a fight. That is pretty big, right? If you have like 200 speed, that's going to take you up to 260 by the time that, you know, after 10 allies take their turn, right? Maybe it includes herself as well. That's pretty big. And same with the HP. Like, it's really amazing. We also have the Cowardly Lion, right? Who's part of Skinwalkers, of course. I have a kind of thing about the face, guys. I'm sorry. But he's a defense-based character. People are saying this is AI generated. This looks very AI generated. It looks goofy, that's for sure. At least the head. You let me know in the comments down below. So his A1 is a 3-hitter, great for Fire Knight, things like that. Damage inflicted by the skill increases by 10% for each skill successfully activated by allies and enemies under Fear and True Fear. Stacks up to 100%. This part's interesting, and steals turn meter. He's got this mechanic where if he gets feared or others, you know, have True Fear, then things happen. A2, it's an AoE, but before he does it, and I love this, like before it happens, because he gets the damage benefits from this because he's a defense champion, 60% defense up and fervor on all allies for 2 turns, and it ignores 20% of target's defense, and it has a 75% chance, up to 100 with books, of course, of AoE True Fear, which is cool. This is on a cooldown of 3. Strength of the Pack, A3, it's just a buff. Counterattack and reflect damage buff on all allies. Now, I do want to say, counterattack AoE is pretty rare still, and it is incredibly powerful for clan bosses, because everyone has an AoE attack, and then boom, the entire team is going to slap back. So that's really good, on top of the reflect damage, of course, as well. Now, the passive, while under these buffs, all allies will ignore shield and strengthen. I think this might be more, PvP, but also could be relevant in Hydra. A very good Hydra champion here. Allies will also when counterattacking too. Will also ignore shield buffs when reflecting damage. And his passive, my head's a little bit in the way. Whenever a Fear or True Fear is placed on the Lion, remove all debuffs from himself and reset the cooldowns. And activates an instant turn. That's crazy. So if anyone tries to fear him, so basically don't run him with resistance gear because you want him to get feared. kind of. He's going to get an instant turn and instantly activate the A2, which then triggers all the buffs again, and then triggers True Fear on the enemies. That is huge, guys. That is huge. That's big. And then when he's under Fear or True Fear debuffs, their skills will always activate. Okay, interesting. Increases the chances of enemy skills not activating when they're under True Fear by 15%. So I think it's 50%, right? Right. So that would go up to 65% chance that they're going to get feared and then their stuff doesn't activate. That is really wild. Honestly, these characters look really amazing. And that leads me to basically saying, well, what can you do to prepare for this? You need to understand what you need to prepare for fusion events and events in general, right? And this is a good example. I know that maybe one of the characters are going to be a path, but maybe there's going to be red stars for the Oz characters in a path over the next month or so as well. And how do you prepare for that? Well, just like fusion events, you prepare by having shards, right? So you're going to get points for the variety of different shards, things like that, energy for artifact grinding and whatnot. So, yes, the best thing that you can do is hoard your shards, all of it, right? For fusion events, for path events and whatnot, everything, right? Just hoard everything going forward. Mystery shards are great actually because you can use those to almost entirely clear a fusion event. Normally you need about 6,000 points for like a summon rush, something like that, to be able to clear the shards portion of a fusion event. And so this is a 1-to-1. So this for me is like 4,700 points. A sacred shard is normally worth about 500 for a summon rush. Champion chases things are a little bit different, but they do favor void shards in that instance. Now beyond shards, what else can you hoard? Energy. You know, you get a lot of energy from day to day, from your questing, from your daily quest, your advanced quest, whatnot, but also just the other content that you're running. So Doom Tower, Cursed City, Grim Forest, all of those have like energy nodes in there. So you can either save them and do them later, or you could just do it now, stack up your energy like I am, and you're going to be able to use that for the fusion event starting next week for the Lion, for all of those event dungeons that you're going to need to run, whether it's the, any of the regular standard dungeons, gear hunters, champion training, things like this. I'm going to be saving all of that to do that then. Thirdly, of course, gems, right? Because gems is what you often would use to convert to energy. So more gems equals more energy. Being able to spend 40 gems for 130 energy and just, I could do this 184 times if I really wanted to. But in general, saving gems so that you have that available for additional energy as required is going to be really, really good too. And also, finally, silver is actually a bit of a bottleneck for newer and some mid-game players as well. You should save, I would say, between, depending on your RNG and your luck, at least 30 million silver, but probably comfortably like 40, 45 million silver is where I would try to be. You can sometimes run into 2, maybe 3 gear enhancement events. So if they're mean and they put up a 3rd gear enhancement, for veteran players, that's usually not a problem. As you can see, my total is very, very strong, but nonetheless, trying to save around at least 40 million silver will help you to be able to get there. Now, of course, if you're really, really, really hurting on silver and unable to liquidate any gear to get it, still one of the best places to farm this would be either your top Spider Den or Spider Den normal 10, because Spider Den 10 actually has a really bugged drop rate for the 5-star accessories. I do want to point that out. I've done a video on that a couple of times. And so if you're really, really hurting for money, you could farm Spider Dungeon 10, sell those accessories, and then make silver that way. That tends to be the easiest, and especially if there's an event going on like right now with both the path but also the spider turn attack, you can get a little bit of double dipping bonus if that's something that you need. Beyond that, again, right, you make sure that you're clearing everything day to day, right? So you can prepare the best you can for these upcoming events. Clan boss, right? Demon Lord. Make sure that if you're not already there, working your way up to Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare and getting those final chests, because that's going to help you get more sacred shards into your roster, which is of course going to help you clear events a lot faster. Also, making sure that you clear your Doom Tower rotation, both in hard mode and in normal mode. They have a handful of sacred shards here. You can see here, basically from 90 onwards, sacred shard, void shard, and then sacred shard at the top. And then even on normal mode, I mean, if that's all you can do, there's still lots of energy, lots of gems, and I believe there's shards. I thought there were shards actually a little bit further up, but maybe it's not until there's a void shard at 90 there, and then another void shard at 120. So not as lucrative as hard mode, but nonetheless still something that repeats every single month. And then, of course, like I said, Cursed City and Grim Forest still has plenty of resources in there that you can stock up. Typically, I think I've already cleared out the energy ones, but in general, right? This is something that you want to do going up to that and making sure that you can do everything possible to collect shards, right? You can get 5 ancient shards every month, every calendar month out of the market. So making sure that you pick those up. And just in general, just keeping an eye on your resources. Live Arena for primal shards, if that I don't like Live Arena, but some other people might want to grind out some more to get your monthly primal shards there. All of that stuff is going to help you be able to complete your fusion events. Also, don't discount things like Remnant Summons, which comes from Cursed City and from Grim Forest, right? All of this can help you clear a champion chase during the fusion event, or sometimes there are other events that reward you with, in general, summoning characters, a champion chase-esque, but we saw that with the Talena Soulseer event. So that was a guaranteed champion event there that you could actually just pull random champions to get there. And of course, your fragment summons, right? So if you've been holding any of these, that's going to help you on a champion chase. And don't forget, finally, about fusions, namely Broadma, right? So if you have any of these characters lying around, you can then fuse up to an Epic Void Broadma, which is going to help you get additional points for champion chase and related events like that as well. So, guys, this is the time that you need to, especially if you're someone who struggles to clear fusions, or maybe you've never cleared a fusion before, start hoarding, right? Wait, Shadow Legends. It's the name of the game. If you want to get ahead, if you want to get these goodies, these good goodies from the Oz champions and beyond for the next month and a half, now is the time to do that. Anyways, just throwing out some of my suggestions out there. Feel free to take it how you like. Anyways, before we go, I do want to remind people that if you haven't started playing Raid yet, what are you waiting for? Download using the QR code in the top right hand of the screen. Get King Galkabar, Venomage, Tagor, and Ferric the Fat, right? Don't forget about Pelops the Victor. You can use the promo code Super Victory within the first 48 hours of a brand new account. That's it for me, everyone. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. And I'll see you over the weekend, maybe, and also into next week. I'll see you then. And if you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and you'll be greatly helping out the channel. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.